Mala, who will be making the breakout rooms?
We know the
No, they are using your laptop.
yeah he's using his laptop.
Vinod,
many options to make the rooms here.
Vinod, I can't hear you.
Yes, Zahira.
Okay, then I'll make you host. You can make the breakout rooms, right?
Yes, Zahira.
Tehan, you'll be doing the introduction.
No, we're not
Fine.
doing it.
Okay. Then Tehan, what are you doing?
I'm timekeeper.
Okay. Okay, man. Share it properly,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Then I'll be leaving. Good luck, Malas.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Zahira.
Vinod, you will share in the screen now.
Yes, I'll be sharing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. You have stopwatch now.
Is
Okay.
it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. Vinod, what about that sponsorship videos?
I'll be sharing that.
Have you downloaded it?
පොඩි කාලෙ ඉඳලා අපේ හිත්වල තිබ ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නය අපි කවුද. ඔබේ හැකියාවන් මොනවාද. කැමැත්ත මොකක්ද. ඔබේ ආකල්ප මොන වගේද. ඔබට අනාගතයේ ගැලපෙන්නේ මොන වගේ වෘතියක්ද. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබගේ මේ දැවෙන ප්‍රශ්නවලට උත්තර හොයන්න ඔබට උදව්.
Vinod, can you see that? My screen share?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. Hey, can I share that sponsorship video?
It might be easier if I share it because I'm sharing the clock already.
Okay. Hey, you can you share the sponsorship video?
Check the group.
No, I also can share that video also. But clock is the problem. I'll put that sponsorship video. After that, you will start the introduction. Okay.
Mala, uh,
Yes, sir.
still the judges. Only one more judge, no? I'll make the breakout. Tehan, mute your this one. Mala, are the judges in the breakout rooms?
No, none of the judges have joined the meeting yet.
Okay, wait. We'll see. දැන එහෙනම් මං then cut all the judges since they have come. Shall I put the link?
Okay, Malla, go ahead. No worries.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are all the debaters of both teams present?
The speakers of Visaka Team B is here.
On behalf of Zahira College, we all are here.
We will now be commencing the debate. Our judges for today will be Dian Baduge, who is an entrepreneur, a corporate trainer, and the director of Edu1. Our second judge, Himesha Gajavira, who is an entrepreneur and a researcher. Our third judge will be Praveen Dhanasekara, who is a lecturer at the University of Peradeniya. The topic for today will be this house would implement compulsory military training for all youth above the age of 18. This will be proposed by Team 2 of Visaka Vidyalaya and opposed by the team of Zahira College. A few notices. We kindly request all debaters to stick to their allocated time of 8 minutes. All debaters will need to have their video on at all times. You may now start the debate.
I can't see the screen that is shared, the timer.
Yes, we know.
Oh, now it's okay.
Visible.
No, sir.
We request the first speaker of the proposition team to begin.
Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The motion for today is this House should implement compulsory military training for all youth above the age of 18. And as side proposition, we strongly propose this motion. We have three arguments for the House today: equality among citizens, mental and physical fitness, and then discipline. Starting off, many countries already have these kinds of training programs in place for youth. They call it compulsory military conscription, where they include people in mandatory military programs and they have to go and serve in the military for a time period. So this is not something that we as side proposition try to invent. This is already being practiced in countries like South Korea, Norway, and Denmark. So what is compulsory military training? Here, we define this as a mandatory, a must-do military training, irrespective of their gender, race, locality, or any other demographics. There can be, of course, exceptions. For example, in other countries, if the youth has participated in international sports activities, or he or she can be exempted from this training. For our purpose, we would like to rephrase it as a leadership training program, rather than a conscription, which would certainly remind you of guerrilla training that you get in Kashmir jungles or something. We emphasize that this is not the normal intense military training given to soldiers to face the enemy. We suggest that all girls and boys who have finished their schools must participate in a maximum of 3 months training. This training has to be customized enough to cater to the gender and their physical fitness levels. All students must undergo a medical checkup, not only to check their physical well-being, but also their mental status prior to this training. We strongly believe that 3 months would be sufficient to make a big change in their lives, as the scientists have pointed out that when someone repetitively does something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. This might change an introverted, racist, self-centered, or cruel person to a responsible, caring, or visionary leader with compassion towards mankind. With that, I'd like to move on to my first argument: equality among citizens. I assume that all of you all have heard of the great act of bravery by Hasalaka Gamini, a Sri Lankan soldier who jumped into a battle tank, covering himself with bullets and hand grenades with the intention of saving lives of his peers. This saved the lives of more than thousands of his fellow men. Do you think an executive in the corporate world would go beyond his call of duty to save his peers in a similar context? No, honorable adjudicators, he would not. He would rather snatch the opportunity to climb a ladder. So, because our minds are not trained in such a way that we would let go of our own happiness in order to help someone else. This act of bravery is the training they got from the military to put the country before oneself. So, by implementing this training, good qualities, like I mentioned here, will be inculcated within students as they begin a new phase of their lives, irrespective of their family background. You see that there's a huge disparity when it comes to rich and poor. Even the way we look at people from different backgrounds differ based on their social status. Moreover, we are not used to working with brothers and sisters of other ethnicities because most of us are from monoethnic schools. Once these students are put into training, it will pave the way for them to bring them into the same playing field. And as this is compulsory, everyone, be it rich, poor, Muslim, burgher, they will work together as a team. With that, people of different social strata will get together and learn to work as a team. Reason being, the social status will not be counted when enrolling these students into the training. This promotes equality among everyone. This will help to eradicate problems like racism and inequality among citizens. One can argue that the youth who comes to this training will be wasting time allocated from their education, or if otherwise, or other enjoyment because of this. But we'd like to point out one thing. There has to be a good balance between both education and social relationships. Both have to go hand in hand. One alone would not make a complete human being. If you need to create a good citizen to the society, he should not only be educated but also should have a good intersocial relationship. This military training for 3 months will help the youth to improve this factor. This proves our point that this compulsory military training for 3 months will help to create an equal anti-racist society. Moving on to my second argument, physical and mental fitness. Do you all recall the news that a lady doctor had suicided because of the inability to cope up with the pressure given to her by a senior consultant? These are everyday news. This is mainly because people nowadays cannot put up with the external pressures they get. Why is this? This is because of the weak mental fitness they have. We, as side proposition, believe that this issue can be easily solved by implementing this military training. Honorable adjudicators see that most of these team building camps are run by military or military affiliated personnel, as they know the art of building up personality step by step. Think of it this way: if you become a CEO of an organization, you have a lot of competitors who might easily run you down if you don't make a strategic decision on time. If you haven't gone through such a military training, you might find it very hard to make a right choice very quickly. If you had not participated in sports in school, you have a very little scope to develop your social or leadership skills. At times, we have seen the employers identify these weaknesses of their staff and send them for leadership skills training under the guidance of military. The only difference here is that this is conducted by the state, and all children must undergo this just as they finish their schooling. Because when you go for this training, sometimes they put you in a situation like you're climbing a rope and suddenly you see that the rope can't hold you on anymore. And then you have to get away from it. In this way, they train you to make right decisions. Of course, in such a situation, there will be cushions at the bottom of the place you're climbing or any other precautionary measures in case the person cannot handle the situation. Further, this also helps the use physical fitness. Again, I'd like to remind the judge that we will not be giving them a very hard army training, instead a basic training to improve their physical fitness level. It's a common thing in Sri Lankan universities that children get dragged. If you have gone through a military training, on one hand, the ragging will be stopped, as this military training disciplines people, which will be discussed by my second speaker. Um, and also, this makes the youth who is getting ragged to overcome it by showing his military skills. We believe that this will improve the youth's physical fitness. This also creates a very good defense for the person, like in a situation I mentioned here about ragging in universities. By implementing a compulsory military training, it will make citizens capable of defending themselves against any harassment or enemy. With all the points I have provided you, you see that this proves that our side wins. So I hope you side with side proposition.
we request the first speaker of the opposition team to begin.
Thank you, honorable judges. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Honorable adjudicator, members of the proposition side, members of the opposition. This House wants to implement compulsory military training for youth above the age of 18, which we believe is not beneficial. Conscription, sometimes called a draft, is the mandatory enlistment of people in national service. There are many reasons why this is not beneficial. Before moving on to my arguments, I'd like to clarify a few points. In order to get disciplined, we don't need to go to the military. There is martial arts in school where we can get the same benefits. And humanity should evolve towards peace, not towards war. If we go towards war, then only we are going to get other experience and all that. But if we have peace, humanity should evolve towards peace, not towards war. And teaching all students in the same classroom, don't we think that is promoting equality? We are having the same tables, the same chairs, and the students are learning the same class. Doesn't that promote equality? And physical and mental strength, as said by the proposition leader, it is not only received from military training, we can receive from scouting too, which is implemented in schools. So, and the main arguments of mine is that it violates the right of free choice. The United Nations Human Rights Council, in its 26th session, said that conscription is a violation. We have the responsibility and the duty to abide by that. If the international community is saying this is a violation of human rights, then we cannot take that into account and implement. Why? We are a member state of the United Nations and we agree to their terms and conditions. And Sri Lanka is a democratic nation, Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Freedom of choice, freedom of free will is a core pillar of democracy. The people have the supreme authority even to choose their leaders. That's their free will, that's their freedom of choice. But if we take that freedom of choice, we are removing a pillar from democracy. So we can't call Sri Lanka as a democratic nation if we are not having a freedom of choice. And the freedom of choice, in elaborately stated, the individual has the opportunity and autonomy to perform actions selected from at least two variables and without the influence of a second or a third party. And obviously here, this is like a modern day slavery. They have no freedom of choice. They have to go and serve in the military. And they have, if we are not accepting that, they are going to be punished. So slavery was removed from this world a long time ago. We don't need to implement that in another form in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a democratic socialist republic. It's a republic. So people should be having independence and sovereignty over themselves. The government cannot be allowed to influence people in such a way. And people can go to other places in their precious lifetime at the critical juncture of their lives. They can go to other places where they can make their life successful to pursue their goals. We are disrupting that. People cannot pursue their goals, their ambitions to make their loved ones and cared ones happy and make those goals successful. If we take away that precious time, the productivity of that person would go and they will be demotivated and they will not feel to do anything that they want to make their life successful. And point number 2 is the economic burden the country has to bear. Sri Lanka is having a deficit budget for decades now. And given the fact that Sri Lanka is spending over 300 billion rupees for the standing army of 350,000 personnel and the 20,000 reservists, and if the youth population of Sri Lanka, which is numbering up to 4.4 million, if we are going to give military training for all of these individuals, it's going to, theoretically speaking, it's going to cost more than 3,000 billion rupees. Are we struggling to cover our domestic expenditure and pay these installments? Now, if we are going to add up 3,000 billion, a whopping 3,000 billion rupees to that cost, can we repay them? And if we need more instructors, more teachers, more military equipments, more bases and more camps, if quality training should be given, we have to import foreign materials because Sri Lanka doesn't have a strong domestic military industry. So we will be selling for our sovereignty, our independence would be lost. We have to sell our capital assets in case if we are not going to repay those loans. That sovereignty, that independence, our ancestors fought for centuries, repaying with their bloods, their lives and properties to make sure this future generation of this country is going to live in a free and open Sri Lanka. Are we going to give that away for spending 3,000 billion rupees? And what are we going to get in return? We are getting nothing. and we can send a fraction of that 3,000 billion rupees, even a small portion of that can be taken and given to other places such as universities, such as schools, such as other institutions, private organizations, state-run companies, and make sure that people are getting jobs, people are getting a better life standard, and we can make this country a
Sir.
Yes.
Are you implying that getting more jobs for citizens is more important than actually producing quality citizens?
Your PO will be answered by my colleague. Thank you. And point number 3 is the crime rate of the nation. Professors from University of Gothenburg and Stockholm University are agreeing that if military training is given to people within the age of 18 to 30, they have more probability of turning towards crime. And many countries who have implemented such systems, such as Brazil and North Korea, are experiencing the said consequences. We can learn from history. We can see what these countries has done and what they are facing right now. Increased crime rates where they have to handle a lot of more crimes. So, and military service significantly increase the likelihood of crime between age 18 and 30, and youths below the poverty line who have troubled backgrounds, they will be more prone to conflict. Why? They are exposed to weapons. They're exposed to combat training, the combat training which has been established to ensure that the Sri Lankan citizens are kept safe, the military training which has been established to make sure that the citizens of this country are going to live a prosperous life. Should it be turned towards crime and result in disaster, this country should be moving towards peace, towards development, towards successes, towards global reputation, not towards chaos and disasters. The crime should be avoided, and we are already having an increased crime rate in the country. So do we need to increase that further? Or we can stop right here and make sure we don't repeat the mistakes of nations which have already committed those mistakes and the experience. We don't have a war in the nation. Even when the 30 years of war was in the country, we did not have a mandatory military training. It was an all volunteer force. People volunteered for the army. We can have a volunteer army. Many nations have, even the United States, the global leader is having a volunteer army, not a mandatory army. People volunteer, and when they are volunteering, it increases the productivity. And to teach patriotism, we don't have to go to military. In India, it is not a mandatory military training. They teach in schools, and they are more patriotism. And when the soldiers die in conflicts, the citizens rise up. Why? They are more patriotic. So this is why this house believes that military training should not be implemented for the youth above the age of 18. Thank you. Over to you, Adjudicate.
We request the second speaker of the proposition team to begin.
Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear
Am
you.
I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I will first start with some concept rebuttal. Firstly, they keep repeating that we're going to train them to participate in wars and technically do the stuff that real army people do, but we're not doing that. We're literally, we told you, my first speaker told you that we're just improving their physical fitness. We are not training them for war. We're not training them to use guns or to handle bombs. We're just training them for them to improve their physical fitness. And also, we're not training them for a full course army. We're just training them so they can get stronger. They can have more strength. We're not training them to go out into the battlefield and fight or risk their lives in war. We're not doing that. We're just telling them we're just telling you guys that all we're doing is making them improve their physical fitness, making them stronger in life so they can face their future competitions easily and get over their goals with less stress. So also that I would also like to say that military doesn't only mean war. Ladies and gentlemen, military means like I said, improving physical fitness, becoming stronger, being able to handle close to impossible things on your own. If you, let me first, because said, didn't know to climb or hike before, if you do participate in the military, they will teach you to climb a mountain, even the stiffest of all mountains. They teach you to climb it, and like my first speaker said, if you decide to fall, they will always be there to catch you and support you at the bottom, because they're not expecting you to be able to climb that wall, climb that mountain on the first try. You will take time to do it, and they will be there with cushions at the under to catch you. They're not going to risk your life. They know way more better than that. And also, the first speaker of Sai Prabhupada came up and said they were taking the right to decision. We're not taking the right choice. We're literally saying that we're only saying that for that 3 months that they would be trained, it's compulsory for them to go. We're not taking the choice away forever. It's just 3 months that they're going to be trained, because they're doing it for them. They're doing it so they improve their physical fitness. They're not doing it just for the pleasure of the military. They're doing it so that the people, the society can be stronger even alone. Also, saying that I like to move. So my first speaker came up and said she talked about the physical state of your mind, and that you won't go crazy by going to the military, because we're not keeping you here forever. We're only keeping you here for 3 months. So, like my first speaker said, the scientists believe that in 21 days, that you could learn a lot. So it won't be possible for them to resist this area in 3 months. Saying that, I'd like to move into my argument about discipline. So when people are sent to the army, they would learn to obey and respect other people's views and commands, because as you already know, in this society, there are so many people that just go and talk disrespectfully to other people. For example, a junior citizen goes and talks to a very respected senior citizen saying, "Hey dude," or "What's up, bro?" But that's not the way you talk to a senior citizen. That isn't the way you treat someone that is not in your peer group, that is way older than you, and that deserves way more respect than you could think of. So by talking to that person, you're showing so much disrespect. There's a lot of disrespect, and that you have no discipline. So when you send to this military, they would teach you to respect those senior citizens. They'll teach you to obey a senior's command, and to call people sir or general or ma'am, other than saying "hey dude" or "bro" to people, because that is not the right way to talk to people. Also, yes, there was a PY.
What you just said, don't you think that is done in schools?
Yes, peers can call each other dude or bro, that's fine, but it's not, for example, taking what you said into example, a student can't go and call a teacher bro or dude and say hi or something like that. You treat them with respect, treat them like you got to treat them like who they are. They're elder than you, they're teachers, they deserve more respect than you think. So by sending this children to military, sending this people in military, you would understand that they would come out changed. They would come up as new people. They would come up as more respectful people who would respect other people's views and ideas. Because as you know, there are people in society who would only do what they want to do. They would say, okay, this is my idea, I want to stick with it, I'm not changing my mind. And they would just stick to their idea, even though they know inside that there are so many more better ideas. It's selfishness that they decide, okay, no, I want to do mine, that's it, I'm doing mine. And then he or she would end up with no friends in society because of his selfish act. So if that person is sent to the military, even for that 3 months, he could learn that there are so many better ideas, and he would learn so many better ideas in life, that they don't need to really be so much caught up in their own decisions. Before I move on, are there any POIs?
POI.
Yes.
Now you said that when going to military training, that the soldiers or the youth, they get to obey their leaders, their generals, calling them generals or sir. Don't you think this is instilling fear in the youth, as if you do not call the leader as a general or sir, you would eventually be punished, right?
There aren't any harsh punishments for not calling an elder sir or general, because you have to anyway from inside you think they are stronger than me, they have more power than me, they can really like so they can punish me. So out of not that much fear, out of respect, they would learn to call them sir or general, not out of so much fear. So because deep down that person knows that he's elder than me, oh my gosh, I should respect him. And then they would, because they would call them sir general, not out of fear, out of respect and discipline that they learn over the 3 months that they go to the military. And also they're not going to punish someone just for not calling someone sir or general. That is really a bit of a harsh thing to do, to punish someone for not calling sir general. But it's just training. They're not actually going to participate in war in a week or in a month. It's just training them to be better citizens, to be stronger citizens. So yeah, it's not really punishing, it's just respect. And saying that, I'd like to end my argument. I really hope you side with that proposition. Thank you.
We request the second speaker of the opposition team to begin.
Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Honorable adjudicators, members of the proposition and members of the opposition. The topic which the proposing team said is this house would implement compulsory military training for all youth above the age of 18. I'm emphasizing on the word all youth, which means regardless of their physical and mental illness, even though they are a drug addict or whatever illness they have or genetic disorders they have, they would be compulsory, or it would be compulsory for them to join the military training. And also, let me simplify the point. What is military training? As the proposing team did not mention what military training is. It is providing basic military education such as marching, shooting, introduction to weapons and arms, survival skills, and traditions of army, which you did not mention all these. Like you were telling that they will be taught, like the proposing teams told that they will be taught about discipline and all the discipline things and physical health, and you were emphasizing on the word physical health so many times. But if you see, take a school has everything. School teaches discipline, school teaches sports, all the other things which are needed for basic life skills. And also, as my colleague said, that we will be spending more than 300 billion rupees on military training. Why not we use this money to improve the education system in Sri Lanka? And also, by saying that military training is compulsory, the proposing team accepts that the Sri Lankan education system is wrong, right? So then we can improve the Sri Lankan education system rather than appointing some military training for students or youth who would cause some chaotic or it would cause an increase in crime.
Answer?
Yes.
Do you believe the military training is only based on training for shooting and learning to handle guns, and that it's not based on improving our physical fitness?
Basically, military training is that. So if you want someone to improve their physical fitness, you can make compulsory that morning exercise in school. Like it should be compulsory. If the government wants for the students or the youth to be physically able or have physical fitness, why military training? Why the word military? We do not need military training for the improvement of physical fitness. We could make it compulsory for students to participate in sports, like any sport they wish. It's basically removing of democracy, as my colleague said. And also, in the recent past, we saw the assassination of an underworld kingpin who was an ex-military officer trained under one of the most disciplined military battalions, which is the special forces. He was an underworld kingpin. Don't you think that the military training just only gives them special abilities or give them the skills in physical? They don't change their mental abilities. Because just think in case if uh, if a military personnel or if a youth who has mental illness or who is mentally disturbed or has negative ideas given military training or given arms training, what would happen? Like there would be an increase of crime, right? Because basically Sri Lanka is not ready for such a military training, and all this, and when it is compulsory, the negative youth also gets military training. And also for the first POI asked by the first proposition leader, improving education system means improving the quality of citizens, because when you improve the education system, we improve knowledge, and this causes the less crime, and also we improve the knowledge for the economic system to develop, so which means it's eventually quality citizens, because with the improvement of the economic system of a country, the citizens also improve in quality. And also, as for the second speaker told that, which is emphasized that physical training, we actually don't need physical training for sports and all these other activities which are done in school. And if a student really needs military training, or if he has a passion for military, schools have cadet. So it's volunteer. Any student who volunteers to participate in military training could join cadetting. So then he would get some military training if he wills. It should not be compulsory for a student. And also, on the other point which emphasize, why not improve the spiritual level of youth by teaching more religion for them? Because all religions in Sri Lanka teach peace. So what if we make a situation to improve the spiritual level of students, and then we can see a drastic decline of crime rates and a drastic decline of misbehaving in public. And also, as for the minister who proposed this compulsory military training, he had imposed that Sri Lanka should has an increase of road discipline, like no road discipline, more accidents. What if he brings a plan to teach students in school about road discipline, a more systematical plan where they teach students of road discipline and other disciplines which are needed? And also schools actually teach these disciplines. Why do we need military training when all and everything is provided? And also think, now they're given 3 months of military training. What is the case after these 3 months? So what is the future? Are they going to join the army, everyone who gets the military training? No, right? So everyone would not like to join the army, and in these 3 months they could have done a lot more things. As you said, 21 days is enough to give a habit to happen. So what if they use these 3 months in another way, by going to a course or doing some education stuff? And also, as the famous saying goes, everything is fair in war, love, and hunger. What if these military trained personnel, these military trained youth are some under the poverty line? What if they have this hunger strike, and if they really are hungry, like their poverty is too much, what if they use their skills, their military skills, to rise against the government? It would create like huge riots rather than normal riots which we see. And I believe that we have properly opposed that why the military training should not be given in Sri Lanka for the youth. Thank you.
We request the third speaker of the proposition team to begin.
Am I audible?
Yeah, start.
Okay, so first I'd like to start with a couple of rebuttals. First of all, we will not be training them for war. We will, like the first speaker said, of side opposition said, they said that we will be training them for war, and they'll be going towards crimes. They won't be going towards crimes because they are being trained for physical fitness, not the war. Not and they will have a choice. They said that they don't have a choice. They will have a choice after 3 months. And the third speaker also said that. Sorry, the first speaker of side's opposition also said that they cannot live their life like they wanted to, and it's only 3 months that they'll be training for, and after that 3 months they can do whatever they want with their life. We are just making it compulsory because the second speaker of side opposition said that we get physical training from sometimes physical training from sports, but some physical training you sorry can I start there again? Sorry, the first speaker's side opposition also said that slavery finished a long time ago and we'll be putting them into slavery. We are training them so that they'll get a better physical fitness. We are not trained them, we are not slavering them. It's only 3 months. After the 3 months, they will go and live their life as they want, and we are just training them for physical fitness. And it's not 3 years. After the 3 months, they can go to university and get a good education. We are getting young adults, the ability to defend themselves. In university, there are lots of ragging and harassments. If you learn to defend yourself, that will stop in universities, and they will not go towards crimes because they are learning to defend themselves. The military is not training them for to hold guns or bombs. They're training them for physical fitness, like my first and second speaker said. And opposition hasn't not right now hasn't understood that. And not many people like volunteer to go to the war and like get themselves killed, do they? So we are getting them we are making it compulsory so that they can they'll learn to defend themselves. And if a war comes in some other area, if we have to go for war, we'll have more young people to go to the war. We'll intimidate other nations. And they'll already be trained, and they won't have to be they won't have to take like a month or two to train them again. And like second speaker side opposition said, they said that a mental person could he said that it's compulsory for all children over 18. Like my first speaker said, we will be doing a checkup on them. We will be physical and mental checkup on them. So if they have a mental problem, we will not make them go in. And if they have a physical problem, same thing, we won't make them go in. Only if they're healthy and they are able to train, we will take them into the training. Y'all all know that there's a ginormous pandemic going at the moment, and there's so many military people helping out. And if COVID-19 is not a war, and they still helped, didn't they? Without weapons, they helped with the training that they took long ago. And military doesn't all necessarily mean weapons. It means training. It means physical fitness. We do not need the second speaker of opposition said that you don't get physical fitness from sports. Sorry, you get physical fitness from sports. And yes, you do get it, but lots of children don't go for sports in school. Not all children do that. Plus, in urban areas, rural areas, children don't have the money to get the equipment, and the equipment will be given in the military, and they will get the chance to get physical fitness. And does religion really improve your physical fitness? No, it doesn't. it does improve your spiritual, but what does that have to do with your physical fitness? We're not talking about spiritual, we're talking about physical fitness. And another thing, we can't train for war within 3 months. It takes decades for you to train a soldier. And like my first speaker said, many countries already have this. They've already made this compulsory, like South Korea and Norway. 3 months. It's only 3 months training. Like and my first speaker and second speaker said that there will be a medical checkup. There will be a physical and mental checkup, which means even if they have a mental or physical problem, they will not be taken into the military training. And rich and poor will be equal. You see a lot that rich and the poor, we are always at a different level. Rich is always on top and the poor is always at the bottom. And when both of them go into the military training, they'll be able to equalize. And there are lots of people who will learn teamwork and leadership. Not many people learn that in school because they are too scared to do it, because they are usually ragged or harassed. And there'll be an intersocial and education make a good person, not only education. And like I said before, it's only 3 months. We won't be keeping them for 3 years training. So after the 3 months, they can go to university and get a good education. And also the ragging will be stopped in universities, and they'll be able to defend themselves if they ever get mugged or something. And like my second speaker said, I'm repeating this because side opposition didn't understand this. We are not training them for war. We're not training them to go towards crimes or anything. We're training them for physical fitness. And and they do not they get stronger, and we are not going to send them to war. The young adults will learn to respect elders. Usually young adults sometimes think that they're higher than elderly, and they usually call them bro, dude. That's not a good way to call an adult. And if they go to military training, they'll be disciplined, and they will only call them by sir, general, or ma'am. And like my second speaker said, it's okay to call peers that dude or bro, but elderly, you have to call them sir, ma'am, or general. And they'll respect others' ideas, and they won't like my second speaker said, they won't punish them for not calling them general, sir, or ma'am. That's not a very bad thing to punish for. But what we're saying is that they'll be trained to do, they'll be disciplined. And with that, I end my speech, and I hope that the judicator sides with side proposition. Thank you.
The opposition speaker, you can start now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The opposition team has stated a number of inaccurate details. They have repeatedly said many inaccurate details. Out of it, they said the military training includes of only physical training. It's never true. When we see a military training, it includes using guns, bombs, and weapons such as the knife and etc. So if a normal citizen gets it, it will be good for our country maybe, but not everyone are normal. There are people who are incapable. There are people who are not in a good mindset. People who are corrupted minds, those who are drug dealers, and there are bullies and extremists and even terrorists in this country. So if every one of them gets a free training of all these stuff, what would happen to our country? Just imagine. And also, you always spoke of leadership skills, discipline and social skills and respecting elders and leaders, etc. All these things are taught through sports. Sports teaches them everything. Any sport we do, it teaches everything to us. And also, we go for school for around 13 years in our life, 13 years of a lifetime in school. And something which we didn't learn for these 13 years, is someone able to pour it in our heads within these 3 months? I'm not sure they can. And also in school, we learn to respect others. And even the janitors, we call them as Ayya, Akka in Sri Lanka. And also our teachers, we don't call them dudes. We just call Miss, Madam, Sir, etc. And also you spoke of the rope climbing and physical fitness. Yeah. And also, if someone does it for the sake of an order, if it's an order to be done, the productivity will be far less than doing it with our own will. If there are volunteers in the army, our productivity will be more. It will be much more. If there are people, if someone is forcing someone to do it, it will never be achieving that much of a success. And also the military, they punish the soldiers for not calling the leaders as sir and giving them respect. And it happens in the military. Then if someone has said it, it doesn't happen. And 3 months training. As you have said, it's just a small matter of time. These kind of stuff. So how can you say 3 months is a small time? It's actually great time. You say 21 days is enough to form a habit. So with these 3 months, you can form around 3 to 4 new habits, new good habits. After your A-level education, you can form good habits such as good hobbies and etc. And you can even get good physical skills. And defending. Spoke about defending. And defending is done, we can teach students about martial arts. As you all know, martial arts, karate, kung fu, judo, and all these martial arts teach us peace. Okay, and these martial arts will be used only in times of a danger when we need them. And the campus raggings done in a campus won't be stopped if you give it military training to every student. If you give military training equally to all of them, what would happen is simply there will become riots if one bully comes and starts to bully another person. So that fellow is strong enough to hit him back. And also they start riots and it will create much more chaos than bully maybe. Instead, we can teach them peace. As my teammate has said, we can teach them peace and religion. Throughout these 13 years of school education, can't we teach a student how to be peaceful, how to be friendly with others? Can't we teach them with this? And also the sports. Also the military training gives us power. It's actually a great power to learn even in 3 months. It's a good power for a student. So any person, if the power goes to the wrong hands, just imagine what would happen. If a person who's working against the government, if he gets hold of these students who have highly trained around 3 months, okay? Even though 3 months, it's a great time in military training, who are highly trained in these defense and weapon mechanisms, what would happen to this country if the people get it to the wrong hands? And also there was a question, actually didn't mean, they meant this, but I didn't get the exact word. So is earning better than producing good citizens? So when you say a good citizen, earning there can be from 2 ways. Okay, there will be drug dealers and stuff, and those who are going in one track. And there's another way to earn in a good way. So we can teach citizens from this 13 years of school life, we can teach them to be more and more productive. They can even learn their career path. And what is happening? All right, so there was another rebel put forward here. They said that rural area students from the rural area, faraway sides, so they won't be able to get enough sports facilities. Okay, so you have already agreed that if we cannot provide the schools with enough sports facilities and sports equipments, how can we provide 4.7 million youth with all these facilities, which would cost around 300 billion rupees? Instead of using that 300 billion rupees for military training, which would all sometimes go in vain for many of students, instead we can just spend a fraction of that amount for the students to do sports in school, sports activities. And also we can make them engage in technology. We can see in the rural areas, There are students who are still finding it difficult to connect to the internet without a proper device. Many students, they are feeling it hard to conduct this online class. Why is it? Because they are lacking the knowledge and lacking the devices and products. So with this money, with this much of amount spent per year, we can do much better stuff for them, for their education. We can provide schools with technology and sports. So the students will get a maximum out of them when they are coming out of school. So once they finish A level, they will have necessary knowledge, sufficient physical fitness, and social skills, leadership skills. I mean, speaking of leadership skills, we get to know when you're from a very small age, maybe from grade 1, the school, they give us a monitor bench. What is the use of it? It's to teach us the leadership skill. So when there is a leader formed from the grade 1, and after that you go to grade 5, there are leaders selected among the best. All are leaders, but the best among them is selected and given prefect, the head prefect, the deputy head prefect. All these roles are given to these students who have proved themselves. So what our theme we are about to say is that military training is not sufficient, not important for others. There are alternatives which we have to use it wisely, or else there will be much more wastage, much more chaos, and much more infinite amount of chaos happening in our country due to this military training going to the wrong hands. Thank you.
We now request the opposition team to present their summary.
Am I audible? Am I
Yes, we
audible?
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. As for the summary, the third speaker actually went out of topic by saying the word checkups. And when the topic says compulsory for all youth over the age of 18, what is checkups and what is these exceptions of choosing the correct people for it? And also, I think the proposition did not get the correct meaning of the topic. They actually went out of topic by saying some rather things which is not related to the topic. And also the proposition told that raggings could be decreased in universities. Now just think, the bully gets the military training and also the one who is bullied gets the military training. So both are now having knowledge of armed knowledge, and also both maybe they could get physically aggressive. So rather than a normal bully, now this would turn into some other rather killing or punches, a physical bully. It could result in a further more chaos, because what happens is in military they get aggressive, the youth get aggressive, and also you said the punishments are not given, but any person subject to this chapter who behaves with disrespect towards his superior commissioned officer shall be punished as a court martial may direct. So which means if you do not respect your higher official in military, you will be punished. Rather in school it is taught to you, and it comes for you from heart to respect a teacher, a janitor, as my third speaker said. And also, when you're taught 13 years in school for discipline, for sports, for all the leadership qualities you need for your life, then why actually do you need these 3 months of military training? So then we can directly abolish sports in schools, and then say no need sports in school. You can just do the military training so that you can get physical abilities. Is it so? We do not need compulsory physical training. We just need, like, it's already there in schools as cadet, as a volunteer. And Sri Lanka is an army who finished a 3-year war with only the volunteer army. So why do we actually need compulsory military training? And also we see many more things which are happening as our both speakers told, and also we actually no need school if this military training is given, right? Because everything is taught in school. If you are saying so, that then we should not go to school, and this house would not implement compulsory military training on all youth over the age of 18. We hope we have given all necessary points needed to win this debate.
We request the proposition teams to present the summary.
Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So the motion for today was this House should implement compulsory military training for all youth above the age of 18. And as side proposition, we brought up three main arguments: equality among citizens, mental and physical fitness, and then discipline. So we see that the side opposition has totally misunderstood the topic and our stance. This is not that we train a mob of guerrilla to wage war against China or something. This is to train a student to become a responsible, confident, and cultural, and moreover a responsible citizen. So it's pathetic that the opposition is trying to rephrase the whole thing as a guerrilla training. We emphasize that it is not like an army. We are not training them for army. We are training. We rephrase it actually, saying it's like a leadership training given by the military. It is sad for them to have forgotten what the army has done in the recent past during the COVID period and the tsunami and during the April attacks. This is not something that is done for school kids where they don't know what needs to be done and what is and this is for young adults who have a voice. And also, in this COVID pandemic situation and all those April attacks, even though they were military, in this COVID period especially, they did not use weapons. So, military necessarily doesn't mean using weapons. See, if my opposition thinks that you can make a soldier within 3 months, as in like it takes more than a decade, 2 decades to train a soldier. You guys are talking about a threat for the country by giving them arms, but we specifically said we're not going to give them arms, and also that we will not be training them for the army. So they will never ever be a threat to the country, because one thing, they can't make a soldier within 3 months. And we should not be worried about the finances. We are not looking at employing these students to the military and to give them a salary. So also, bombs and hand grenades are not even given to a normal soldier, for that matter, to play with. I mean, like, if you are thinking that we will be giving weapons to training students, it's completely insane, because we are not even giving bombs, as the speaker specifically mentioned. We will not be giving them any of these weapons. Instead, we'll be doing a basic training, as we mentioned in our stance. It will be this will be supervised by a senior, so that these don't fall. Now these it's so unfortunate that my opposition has totally misunderstood, and it misinterpret this idea that this is a physical training to train not to train a set of soldiers. They seem to be giving solutions in bits and pieces, but like for mental well-being, they are going to give us a solution by going to spiritual training. For other activities, they are going to go to sports. But look, we are giving them, we are proposing a holistic solution to get all these mental and physical fitness into one. So this also, if this army train, so the other side came up and said this is
The judges may now join the breakout rooms to make their decisions.
Good afternoon all. Well, let us give you all a very brief analysis about how things went for both teams before going into the rock solid base for themselves, and then kind of emphasize all the advantageous points as it like to get in the get in the line. Especially the one of the key concerns what I had from my point of view. of the town in recent times. Well, because one of the parliamentarian made a statement supporting for such and suggesting for such implementation. So like the key reason, if you really want to provide a like solid object for such implementation, would be like how the chaotic the Sri Lankan the workforce had become over the years, and the level of inefficiency what we find, especially in the state sector, in certain cases in the private sector too. So they wanted to come up with a very shortcoming solution where to provide that the additional external boost and confidence for the youth and up and coming employment force. That was like the key objective of that statement. So if somebody really wants to support that statement, I would say like the way the way I perceive it's like it's all about trying to prove that this is the quality of the employment and the youth what we have in this country. And unless we try to do something to really get them out more efficient and aggressive towards their out in the long run, some safe point in the sale, because like anyway in any given debate, in any given topic, there's always a natural and logical I would say like a biasness towards one side of the story. So in this particular debate, that benefit was with Zahira College compared to the level of agreements what we can create with a defensive statement. But I would say the leader, the Visaka leader, she had done a reasonable job. Yeah, sorry. So like a lot of contradictory information being given by especially the second and the third debate of Visaka, and they only tried to take it in a like very simple question where like the key objective of uh, implanting a compulsory military training, which is to like enhance the discipline and the character of students. So which like you got the very natural counterpoint coming down from Zahira, where it's like questioning why can't we do that just in the schools without like spending all that the additional billions of money. That's where I suppose like in the middle of the debate, Visaka put themselves in a place where that they can no longer hold the base what they built, because like it was not that strong and it was so vulnerable, and the counting came from every corner. Uh, from uh, from Zahira's point of view, I suppose like I judge one of their debates in the previous round. Uh, I see a very progressive manner of their composure, especially from their leader, and that like holding that composure throughout, even by the other two debaters, which like gave them uh, I would say like since like we are having this all the judgments being given with a digital screen, so we are like so naturally so distant from y'all. So sometimes the level of the confidence and uh, the the level of the strength only can communicate uh, with your composure and the tone of the debate. So especially the leader maintained that, particularly in a higher manner. And the second one and the third one, they were also not that much away from that. But yet again, in terms of getting new ideas and examples and data into the debate, the both teams were so poor in that. So Zahira were like not exceptional in that. So they are like way to go according to these comparative in uh, uh, the comparative judgment. Yes, so we have to give the uh, we have to declare Zaira College as the winners. And let's wish even the Visaka the very best, because like as I was informed, there are going to be like 2 or 3 wild cards in the semis. So Visaka is like not completely out from the tournament. They might get another chance, right? So again, thank you so much for being a part of this, especially under current circumstances, like you all been so hinged without getting the most of your day-to-day interactions and putting all the commitment and passion into such project. We really appreciate that. Thank you all. If you sorry, if you all have any questions, you can raise it up, and at the same time, the best debater of each team, that goes to captains of both teams. Thank you.
Excuse me, Judge. Is there a way we can actually get the recording of this debate?
Well, that of course you all have to question, ask that from the organizers. If they are, most probably they will provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me,
You're
sir.
welcome.
May I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
So as you said, you judged our previous rounds also. Can we get some advices like how to improve the parts which we need to improve?
Well, the only, as I say, like when you come out with new ideas and uh, the showing off of data and facts were a little poor throughout, right? That can be something like where you can impose that the strong statement towards the judge's mind, if you all use that in a in a practical way. That's number one. Number two, I also your POIs in a strategical manner. Use the fairness of the competition, or like to be more aggressive, but y'all can use that strategically. That also can be handy in the competitive rounds. And the other part, it's like uh, sometimes when you are rebunking an argument, you all like emphasize that with the real punch, but that is not there when you try to get a new idea or the scope into the context, which is like equally important, right? Especially as to like putting out some of the like the most vital points of the debate, which can be which can be highly definitive. So those are the little subtle things what you all can sharp you up and get yourself prepared for the next round.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
You're welcome. Yes, it's another question.
Yeah, can we have personal
Right, all
feedback
good.
as well?
Sure, I didn't get you. What, Puta?
Yeah, can we get personal
Thank you.
feedback, Vishaka or Vishaka speakers?
Ah, yes, sure. Give me a second. Yeah, from the Vishaka's point of view, I suppose we are like they really put their cards down. That first from the uh,
Sir, you're not audible.
which was like, if I'm not mistaken, put out by the second speaker of Zahira, saying that with an assumption of currently we are spending some billions of money on 350,000 of a permanent uh, army force, and once we try to provide it for like the rest of the youth, it's been multiplied by the amount, and like giving out a unrealistic figure of 300 billions or something. So their assumption, what they basically did was like assuming, okay, for a single, the real military troop, that we are spending this amount of money, the similar amount of money should be spent on giving a very basic a short course training program for military, right? Which was not the case in the real scene. Y'all would have argued top of that, but that point didn't come from Visaka. And yet again, the composure was like very poor, with all due respect, especially with the second and third tour. Y'all trying to like come out with all the information in a very short period of time, as much as possible, which didn't help the requirement of the devices. We are smartly, again, I would say, like, the movement is not well gone for y'all. Three wild cards, so you might get a chance. And we wish you forward. Sir. All right. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, sir.